All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fright Film Freaks. I'm here with Steven, and I'm here with Adam. Say what up, guys.
What's going on,
What's
guys?
what's going on?
Both in the Fright Film Freaks club that we have going on. I think this is what, episode four?
Episode four, yes.
Episode four, yeah. I always forget how many we've done. It feels like we've been doing it forever, but we really haven't. Today we are talking about, obviously, it's February, so we're gonna go ahead and dive into some Valentine's Day horror with My Bloody Valentine, the original 1981, not the remake, which was done in 3D. That was like 2009, I think, I believe, something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
that's a good question. Yeah, I want to
I,
say like oh 08, oh 07, oh 09,
Yeah, it
one of
was
yeah,
those
early.
years.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was like '09. Um, but yeah, we're gonna talk about the original here, 1981. Um, right at the start of like the 80s slasher like fandom, you know what I mean? It's just so many slashers coming out in the 80s that were so iconic, including this movie and this killer. Um, iconic mask, obviously, you see it everywhere. A lot of fan films done on this. Well, actually, not a lot of fan films done on this movie, but we did get one with Horror Stevie involved in that one, Valentine Bluffs.
Legend.
Legend status, dude, legend status. Um, and then obviously we got the remake, and not really much done with the Valentine's Day, the holiday. I mean, a little bit here and there. You had Valentine, you had this movie, you had the more recently with Hard Eyes, which I saw on Friday. Um, so not a shit ton done, but a little bit here and there. And I think they were probably trying to capitalize on all the holiday horror coming out between the 70s and 80s with, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and all the Christmas stuff going on, and then all the Halloween movies, obviously. So they kind of dove in and said, let's do some Valentine's Day shit because it really hasn't been done too much. So, uh, definitely an interesting holiday to do a horror movie on, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Was I the only one? So I've never watched this movie like just sitting down and watching the whole thing. I've always seen like clips and pieces.
Right.
But the first, I thought I had the wrong movie on the way it starts out, but then I forget it's 1981, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it starts off
Yeah.
like you're watching a small short film from Cinemax,
Yeah.
and but you forget it's 81. So it
It de
starts off how it's
it's
supposed to start off.
it's definitely a movie from 1981 for sure, and it's
For
definitely
sure.
definitely a Canadian movie. Like you could just like, which is kind of adds to the value of the movie a little bit because like you don't have these big name actors in it. Everybody. What I did like about the movie is the characters do feel a little more personable in that sense, where like you don't have these even actor, like you got Nightmare on Elm Street, we got Johnny Depp in there, and you got, Halloween with Jamie Lee. Even when they were just starting out, now they're these huge names. You don't have any of that really in this movie. It was kind of just a one-off
Yeah.
for everybody. I'm sure they're in a little bit here and there, but like most of all, they really captured that idea of like a small mining town and not much going on in it and stuff like that. You look at like the dance they're setting up, and it's like this in I mean, the locations are ridiculous, dude. Like
They're so ridiculous.
it's like in this, like it looks like like a, I don't know, like a small like youth center or something. I don't know. It's like it's really weird, but they did capture that. So I did like that about the movie.
Did you think that I honestly was thinking the whole time the people at Valentine's Bluffs need to hang out with the people from Porky's because I mean
Right,
them
right.
dudes they were all on the same page. They went
Absolutely.
to work and then went the flipping like you said that little I don't even know that little
Everyone,
building they were always in, man. And
the same little bar, a hole in the wall bar that they all go to. Everyone in the
yes.
town just goes to that place after work is done.
And everybody, so there's like
Yeah.
you just tell it's a place. Like the only character that's like a little kind of like over the top is probably the bartender, because you have to have that guy that's like, I'm telling you, be careful. Like you have it in
Right.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you have it in those movies where they warn you a little bit and they're kind of crazy, and shit like that. So he was the only one that was a little over the top, but all the other characters are very like you could imagine. I mean, if you work a blue collar job or some sort of job like a mining job, it's very like kind of depressing in a sense, you know what I mean? Like where the whole town is based on that mine. That's pretty much where you go to die, right? It's like, oh, you graduate high school, you go to the mine and you work
Right.
your life away, you drink after, go back to work, all that kind of shit. So I like the character. I like how they kind of build those characters a little bit, and they're all kind of nutty and shit, and it's interesting for sure.
John, I heard that you only go to bars if there's an old man as a bartender and he's telling stories about how you need to stay out of the woods. Is that
Eh,
true?
listen, listen. I'm from Maine, so I understand this type of shit. I'm not Canada, but I'm pretty close, right? So like I understand that type of shit. So you need you if you're gonna have a bar, a hole in the wall bar, like you gotta have some character to it. That owner or that bartender is gonna be a little off. So I agree, man. I'm totally down with that. The new
Yep.
style, the new age stuff with the, young girls working and their eye candy and all this type of shit. Not really my style. I want that weird guy behind the bar with those weird stories. You know what I mean? That keeps me interested. That keeps me buying beers. So
There you go. That's why you go
abs
back.
absolutely, man.
You think
Absolutely.
they were tipping that guy at least 20%? I mean, he was
Fucking
giving them,
better.
I
Well,
mean,
you better. I mean, let's be honest. Like, there's maybe 30 people in the bar. Like that's it. You're not getting many more customers than that in a small town. So, like, they better be tipping good, or you better be charging out the ass. But let's face it, 1981, a beer was what, not even a dollar, probably.
the good old days.
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
drink.
the one dude laid down when he ordered a drink. I think he literally laid down $1
He's like,
for
yeah,
the
here's your
drink. Like,
75 cents and 25-cent tip, man. We're good.
yeah,
Yeah, and I'm a fan of Moosehead Lager. We have that out here. You see that throughout the movie a little bit. That's a big beer up here, and then obviously in Canada as well. Um, but yeah, just the setting is kind of, you know, you could just really tell it's a Canadian film. Um, and just the whole mining aspect obviously is very northeast, So um, I do like that aspect, but it's Steven, to your point, I mean, it's 81 for sure. There's no way you could be like, oh, this movie looks good still. It kind of doesn't. Although I will admit there are some parts that I really, really enjoy. Um, I'm just gonna go ahead and go into my favorite kill because I
Yeah,
love it.
please do.
I
Yeah,
re
spoilers ahead.
Yeah, I mean, geez, holy crap. Except for Adam here, everybody saw it, at least 15 years ago. So-
listen, dude. I saw the new one, so
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
yes. Yeah, I remember when I was just out of high school when that came out, and it was a big one, and I never actually saw it in theaters. I wasn't against holiday horror, but I more recently I've been getting into holiday horror besides like the Halloween movies and stuff like that. And
Holiday horror is the best.
it's pretty cool, man. I wasn't against it. I was just kind of like, I don't think this is gonna be my thing. Obviously a few ones came out that I liked. I liked Krampus and those
Yeah,
fun kind of nostalgic movies and they feel like comfort films almost,
yeah,
Um, but then like I saw Silent Night, Deadly Night for the first time and I was like, whoa, this is
so crazy.
this is crazy. Like this
Yeah,
movie's awesome. Like I love this. Like it's cheap, it's kind of dumb, but it's also fucking
it's out of
wild.
so unnecessary.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. So I'm like, I gotta get into more shit like this. So I've been diving into more and then so I watched that a few years ago, and then I was like, I gotta watch My Bloody Valentine, obviously. So I immediately bought it. I bought the collector's edition. I bought a regular edition as well, and I went to town on it. And I was like, okay, I get it.
You invested.
Yeah, I get it,
hell
man. I
yeah.
get it. And it's always with horror, I love horror movies just like all of us. So like anytime you get a chance to see something that you haven't seen, I, it's funny when like people say like they haven't seen a movie, and then everybody's like, what? How do you call yourself a horror? It's like, dude, relax. Like, I kind of like that I haven't seen some movies so I can enjoy them for the first time. You know what I mean? And there's plenty of movies you see when you're younger and you don't appreciate them yet. You know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah,
I love seeing movies. It was just a whole new subgenre that I got to dive into these last few years, and I still got more to go, which I'm excited about. Um, but yeah, so favorite kill for me would have been Sylvia's, I think, in the mine, it's a kind of a creepy scene too, man. Like, all the wardrobes hanging and shit with the masks, the miner outfits and stuff. And
yeah,
then she gets impaled on the pipe in the back. And then
yeah. That was great.
when he comes and finds her, it's just spraying out of her mouth. I'm like, okay, all right, I see you,
Yep.
I see you. So that
Yeah,
was
that one had
probably
to be the best one.
That
Dearest.
that was my favorite as well. That was a good one.
I think a lot of people would say like the first couple kills there in the laundromat and shit are pretty badass as well. But it's kind of like start out of the movie. I mean, you get and Steven, I think we talked about this before too. I think maybe it was Jack Frost we were talking about it, where a lot of like the classic slashers that you see don't have a lot of kills in them. This one has, I think, like 16. I think I counted 16 in this movie, which is,
Yeah, Harry goes bananas in this.
yeah, he really does, man. So when you get a lot of kills like that, you can kind of make up for maybe some dull plot points or the simplicity of plots and stuff like that, which this one has a pretty fairly simple plot. This guy wants
Yeah.
revenge, that kind of thing. So, but 16 kills is a lot, man. So it was, it's hard to pick one if you're a movie fan.
I'm going with the first scene, man. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
yeah, the lady's
legendary.
like, "Oh, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, man in the mask?" I mean,
Yeah.
I guess we assume that she knows the man in the mask, right?
Well, you
I
And
was
then
just
better.
gonna
like
ask.
She's just in the. She's just there. So
Yeah,
you
like she
know,
had to have known that person, correct? Like,
yeah,
well,
got it.
back in 81, people used to go down to mines to hook up,
I
so
guess that's
like
that's what they did back in 81.
that
that's their
So
was
role play. That was the role
yeah.
play back then.
That was their club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have much going on at that bar. They needed a new scene, bro. So
yeah,
yeah,
I actually
weird that she's just there. You know what I mean? It's like I want to read the script where it's just like, yeah, the movie opens and like
She had
this
the suit
woman's
and
in a mine.
everything.
Yeah, it's
Like she
crazy.
was like a worker.
Yeah,
and then
crazy, man.
for no reason she realizes that's not who she thinks it is, and then he realizes it and he just kills her.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Also, by far, probably the best looking person in town, right? Like,
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
do-
Yeah,
absolutely.
doesn't fit
doesn't
at
belong
all.
there.
Like,
No.
it's so good, man. Yeah, that's a good kill though. Like right through the chest,
Yeah.
which was
Yep.
cool. Sets up the movie
With the
pretty
close up
well.
on the heart.
It,
On
Had to
the
ha
have
it
the
heart,
close
has
up on
my
the
right?
heart.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah. The
very
practical
cool.
effects of it's really cool. It gets my attention immediately. I'm okay. All right, it's My Bloody Valentine. It's 1981, and the next hour and a half, I'm about to see Harry go bananas and all this whole small town of these people who don't sleep.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Another thing I was kind of impressed with too was like the lighting. Like, I can't imagine trying to shoot a movie in a mine. You know what I mean? Not necessarily that I'm not sure if they actually filmed in a mine or
They
not.
did. No, they did. I actually read about
So
this
that's
where
that's
like
hard to do, man.
yeah, and the town or the company who owned the mine got so excited that they cleaned it up, and they actually had to spend some of the production money to make the mine dirty
Oh wow.
again. Like I read like it was like maybe like 60, 70 grand maybe. That could be off, but that's a lot of
Damn.
money for back then. And just
Oh,
like them trying to like help them out by cleaning the mine, they actually like kind of like shot them in the back where they're like, oh no, we want the mine to be all dirty and like how it is. So but
right,
it was
right.
actually shot down there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Because
That
and
is nuts.
this movie had like a $2.2 million budget, I think, which is actually pretty fucking big. Like
Yeah, it is.
for
Yeah.
what
It
for
didn't
what?
seem like it.
No, didn't seem like 2.2. No.
We just saw Terrifier and it had like a what a $250,000 budget.
Right, 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 right.
Like
Yeah. Yeah, those movies are and the practical
that's
effects in those movies
crazy.
are crazy. Yeah, the things you could do now, it's like, but they learn from these movies. You know what I mean? Like this is one of those movies, those early 80s movies, you get like the blood and it's like that bright, it's almost pink. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's so like just cheesy looking. And the way it's filmed is just like the cameras weren't as good. You know what I mean? When you shoot something on film like that, there's no like the color grading wasn't awesome back then and shit like that, So, but it gives like a Dario Argento type of feel with like Suspiria, where like the blood's bright red. It's like almost a character in its own, and so it's kind of cool. But now they could do so much better shit. They make the blood look all dark and real and stuff like that, and that's what grosses people out. And
Hmm.
but I mean, people like Damien Leone learned from these types of movies.
Right.
You give him a $2-3 million budget, it's gonna be fucking bonkers. You know what I mean? But then again, he just said some shit that upset people, so he's on the outs with his fans, and horror's getting real political right now, and
Oh
it's
boy.
It's a tough thing, man. It's tough because the horror genre has been such a tight-knit community,
Yeah.
which is funny because I feel like we're getting some of the best movies we've gotten in a long time right now. Like,
Stacked calendars, man. Like
I
last year and
mean,
this year,
Stacked.
I mean,
It's
crazy.
insane.
I can't keep up right now. It's
Dude, when I went and saw
Yeah.
when I saw the Substance, I was like, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but whew,
I haven't seen that yet.
movie is
I'm still
awesome.
behind.
I've
Awesome.
heard very good things about it. I
Dude,
just,
it was top. It was my second favorite of the year, and next to Nosferatu was ahead of it. But though,
oh,
we're
I like
getting
that.
yeah,
Yeah, we're
Nosferatu
getting off
was
track.
yeah. But just to what I was saying is like, you're getting these great movies, but there's a little bit of divide in the fans, which you usually don't have. Um, but great movies coming out, and they're all kind of based off, especially the slashers are based off these older movies and what you can do on a low budget and save a lot of money. And better when you don't do CGI. You know what I mean? You do too
Hmm.
much CGI and we got an issue. But these old movies, you can always count on the effects, as Steven said, to be great. And you're all, even if you don't like the plot of the movie, you're going to be able to have a little bit of fun by watching them.
Oh,
True.
absolutely.
So I enjoy it. I mean, this movie
A
for
lot of
me,
those older movies were though.
yeah,
Like the plot
absolutely.
was just kind of there, but like
Sure.
you really while watching it for like the kills and like all of that craziness that's gonna happen during the movie.
Yeah, yeah, especially in the slasher genre. Like
Like ex yeah,
that's
for
basically
sure.
what it was. I mean, the
Right.
Friday the 13th movies are like not it's the same plot every movie and, but people love them.
Yeah.
I feel like it was both ways. It was either like you had like this kind of simple plot, a little dull, but you had all these awesome kills. Um, or you made up for it in these like psychological movies that were older that had to have a great story because you didn't have the gore, you didn't have, the means to do all these crazy fucking kills and stuff. Movies like The Shining and a
Yeah.
lot of Stephen King films and stuff like that, where the story has to be great or the movie's gonna flop hard. I don't.
Right.
Did you guys read it all if this went to theaters?
I think it did have a theater
I feel like it
release.
did, right?
I hope it did with 2.2 million, right?
Yeah, it had to
You would
have a theater
think.
release with that type of budget.
Imagine a 2.2 million straight to video back in 1981. Holy shit, bro. Terrible. And
I
I
do have a
mean,
That was
question.
outrageous.
Was this one of the first movies where it was like, oh, like a whodunit, like a slasher? You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah,
mean,
sure,
like I
sure.
can't think of any other movie where all of a sudden they take the miner's mask off and it's Axel, and they're like,
Yeah.
"What? What are you doing, Axel?" And like,
Right.
I can't think of anything before this one of like a whodunit slasher. What's the Scream franchise made fairly popular. That
Yes.
this one was
Right.
this one like the one who started it all.
Yeah, I'm sure there was some. I mean, it depends. Like, I mean, that depends how wide you go on the spectrum, right? Like, because, like, I mean, Psycho was a little bit of that, right? Like, obviously, a totally different plot
Yeah,
sense and like a totally different movie, but you don't get the killer reveal until the end. You know what I mean? But yeah,
yeah,
I
but
mean, like
touche,
Michael,
man.
but like Michael Myers and stuff, it's Michael Myers. You just don't know what he looks like, right? That's the kind of reveal in H2 and shit and all that, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be one of the first. I mean, we're talking 81. You're almost into
I feel
the
like it has to be.
70s. Yeah, you're almost
Yeah.
into the 70s, and then you're getting into the 60s and 50s after that, where horror is just kind of making its way through, film in general. So, yeah, yeah, probably one of the, especially that Scream style where, Craven must have been like, yeah, I like that, that point of view where you see who it is, and they're like, you, but they don't say who it, they don't say who it is, that type of who done it thing is pretty cool. Yeah, I'd say probably one of the first ones.
No, I
But
like that, man. What did you guys, as far as in like, we kind of talked about like what we liked. What did you guys not like?
oh,
Um, I will say this. I thought the funniest part of the whole movie was the reactions to every single kill.
yeah,
It was a close up of the face just staring at the killer or staring at the body for way too long for no reason
yeah,
and then moving on from it. I thought it like the laundromat one. Like he, it was the most overdone like reaction to her coming out of the dryer,
Right,
and then
right.
it just like completely goes to the next scene.
It's
Like
like, yeah,
it's
let's
like
move on. Let's move on.
like or at the end when Patty takes it, and she's right next to the killer, and she's just staring at what's happening,
Yeah,
and then decides to but the next scene she's just walking down the tunnel.
yeah, yeah.
Like you would think, like I'm gonna run as soon as that happens.
Right.
Like I
Dipping.
thought that was like every single one of them was like that. I felt like, and I thought it was hilariously ridiculous, but it's because it's like it's 81. Like,
Yeah.
of course that's what's gonna happen. But yeah, I just thought it was so absurd.
Yeah, think about like
The people,
think about editing back then too. Is like clipping that film together.
Right.
Like
oh, that took
it's
some work.
harder to go back to be like, yeah, we gotta add, they're not thinking of the reality of the situation of like, yeah, we gotta make her do this because look how she moves in this
For
swing
sure.
and for sure. That but you're correct on I even when Sylvia dies and she's like put up onto the
Yeah.
on
It's
it like
just
zooms in on her mouth. She's like, oh, you're like, okay.
just staring at the water coming out of her. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, like, wait, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely weird. I think one thing I didn't like was probably a plot point of like the back and forth of the lead actress with the two guys. It's like this guy comes back to town and it's kind of like this push and pull between these two guys and she's kind of just not choosing at all. And the whole time I'm like, just dump this girl to the curb. Like
Yeah.
screw it. But it's kind of just a weird side plot that's happening that's they kind of get away from a little bit because they're all of a sudden they're like, oh, someone else died. We'll put our fight on hold and we'll go deal with this, which I mean, I guess you would do obviously, but it's just kind of like doesn't really go anywhere, you know what I mean? So I think that would probably be one thing I was like, well, it's the 80s, right? They don't really give a shit. They're like, yeah, we'll just make this love interest thing and we'll have this crazy killer over here. So
That's
that
how
would
they did
be
it back in 81, John.
yeah, that's how they do it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how they do it, man. I
yeah.
get it. They were like, yeah, no,
And
this is a real passionate love story, right?
Yeah.
and little
They
do y'all
did have a
know that,
beach scene. They had the beach scene.
Yeah, yeah,
hey,
They
correct,
had to have the
correct,
beach scene.
correct.
hey, little did y'all know that that they were fighting over girl number one, but she got the old stake to the back at the very beginning of this movie. So
True. Yeah, right, right, right.
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, they're like, that girl's gone. What are we gonna do now?
yeah.
Right.
They're like, shit, Cindy or whatever the fuck her name would be is 10 out of 10. We got to go with the 4 out of 10 because that's
We're
all
gonna
that's
get the
left.
one. We're gonna go with the one that Axel left behind to go do something that no one wants to talk about, and he
Exactly.
failed. Now he's back.
Yeah.
It's the typical, these girls are 9 out of 10 for Valentine bluffs, but sixes everywhere, sixes everywhere
Right.
else. But yeah, so that would probably be the thing that I didn't like love. But how about you, Steven?
Well, that was a trick question because I loved everything about the movie.
Of
Okay.
course you, of
I can't
course you did.
believe both of you would actually even point anything out.
Of course you did.
No. You know what, man?
Rhetorical
I
questions out
honestly,
here.
when you go into a movie like this, I wasn't expecting much. I
Yeah.
was actually very excited. I got to actually watch the full thing for the first time ever, and I enjoyed it. I mean, like you said, like the plot and the reactions, they were a little, off, but it's 1981.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
liked it how all the people on Valentine Bluffs, they had, they gave no Fs, because just chilling. People were getting killed by the dozen, and they're like,
Right.
"No, we're still going out. We're still working our 12 to 16 hour shift at the mine, and then we're gonna be at this at the Applebee's,
Yeah,
Yeah.
flipping."
what a crazy thing to just be like, yeah, dude, there's this killer on the loose for Valentine's Day. He worked in the mine. This is wild. So, you know what? Let's take this party to the mine. Like,
Yes.
let's go
Right.
right there. Hell yeah. People are dying. There's a curfew. Nah,
Because
we're going to
they
party.
knew about the deaths that were happening prior to that, correct?
Yeah,
Or
I think
was he
they
just like hiding it? The cops like hiding it, like keeping it from the town to not scare them.
no, I'm
Oh
pretty sure
yeah.
they knew at that point because there was a curfew in place.
Oh yeah.
Because they were like, no,
Yes.
you
Right.
can't go anywhere. And then they were like, okay, we're going
Let's go to the mines then.
let's go to the mine. Yeah, what a weird choice. But
That's
yeah,
so
I mean
weird.
yeah, they definitely knew. But also what a weird thing to have a town be known for like Valentine's Day. Like I can't imagine the
Yeah,
town right now being like a place where it's like, yeah, Valentine's Day is like your big, like they
that's it.
you see like
That's the one.
the decorations they did in the streets. It's just like
Yeah.
straight, it's like Fourth of July, but with hearts. You know what I mean? Crazy looking. But obviously with
Ba-
the what was the catchphrase? It's a little town, big heart. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yes, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I'm interested to know like how this movie was like reviewed when it came out. I don't think I've read anything. You know, a lot of those old slasher movies did not do well. Even Halloween took like a few years to get going, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I'm wondering how it was perceived when it first came out because I've never really heard too much about. I mean, this is one of those movies, let's be honest, horror fans know of, they love, they enjoy, but like not a lot of you wouldn't go to someone who just likes movies and doesn't really watch horror and be like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, let's watch My Bloody Valentine." They'd be like, "What? The fuck
Why
is that?"
not?
Yeah.
I saw that it
I
was
know,
like
but shit, you know?
50-50 on the Rotten Tomatoes with the
It
audience
was.
and critic score.
Yeah.
I didn't read any of the reviews, but I did see like the scores were like 50-50.
Because I know the newer one did pretty well in theaters. Like people like
Yeah.
that movie. And I was actually the opposite. I didn't like that movie at all. I
You
hated it.
know, I know we talked about this, John, but that's in my opinion probably one of the best 3D movies that came out the theaters in that time period. Even better than Avatar. I'm gonna say it. My Bloody Valentine, the
Hmm.
remake in 3D, one of the best.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a chance to ever see that in
As far as 3D movies go though. Yeah, well
yeah,
I can totally
yes.
see that being a thing. I mean, even
Oh
just the way
man,
it's
it's
filmed
shot
watching it
so
on
well.
TV. Yeah. And that's when 3D was big, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
3D
Yeah,
was
that
coming
came
out
out like
hard.
during its peak.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that for sure. But like you're adding a form of entertainment to the movie, which like I think takes away a little bit of the actual film itself, you know what I mean? Now what's cool about it is you're giving it an experience. You're going into this full-fledged experience. But like I don't know, I just thought like I thought the original was better. I like the original way better. But that's just me, you know what I mean? I liked in the, like I compared to the original, I like them staying more in the mine. There's a few kills outside, obviously, but like I like it being set in the mine at the end of the movie. And like the newer one does a little bit, but it also goes back and chases the girl back into town and stuff like that. There is that cool
Yeah.
truck stop scene or motel scene where it was pretty wild, but um I mean, yeah, just my preference. I like the original better for sure, but I could see why people loved the 2000. It did well. So, but I'm weird, man. Like I don't like people love The Strangers. I hate The Strangers, dude. I think it's a terrible movie.
Let's go,
But
Adam. Let's leave. End this call.
Yeah, I was like the new one. You're talking about the new one?
no, like the original Strangers movie, I didn't lie. I saw it in theaters and I was like, I know everything that's happening. Like I get it. Everybody's like, but
Yeah,
it could really happen. I know that.
it
But
was
like
good.
I just like was
But
like I just
I
didn't
mean,
like it.
I told Jade that after seeing the new one, it's a million times better than
Really?
the original one. I
Oh,
thought it
interesting.
was. I liked it way more than
Yeah,
the original with Liv
I
Tyler, or if that is the original.
yeah, that is the original. That's the original. Yeah.
He knows
Um,
how many remakes there are.
yeah, well, they've done like what, 3 cents, I think. I think they've
Yeah, they
done
did those like weird sequels to that one, and now they have the chapter two of the new one coming out
yes, yes,
in
yes,
a couple
yes.
months, I think.
Yeah, and I haven't watched and I'll probably watch them. I haven't watched I haven't even revisited The Strangers in a while, so I'll have to redo that. But yeah, just wasn't a fan. I'm weird like that. I like certain movies and then other movies just don't do it for me. But hey, that's everybody, right? Everybody's got their opinions. So
Hmm.
What you guys think about the ending to My Bloody Valentine?
I mean, it was a big reveal, right? Like people, this was one of the I wouldn't say first ones, but it was a big reveal for people where it was a little bit of a twist ending. And I
Yeah,
thought
and
it
you didn't really have clues to it
no,
being him throughout the entire movie like you normally would get. So it was like an actual like, oh crap, didn't I was thinking it was the other guy
right,
the whole
right.
time.
And I think
Yeah,
that's what they knew. I think that's like when this guy was writing the movie, he was like, "Oh, this is why we're gonna do the movie. It's because like this is gonna hit good." You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So like I think maybe the rest of the plot kind of fumbles a little bit because of that, but the ending really does make up for a lot of that, which is cool. Um, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. It was definitely a surprise, which like I said, I thought it was going to be the other guy that he was fighting with for the girl.
Mhm.
So it's him. I thought it was kind of cool to see like the backstory that he was like the kid hiding under the bed to scare his dad and then witness the murder.
Right.
Uh, I do think it's got like there was no signs of him being crazy all
Sure.
this time, which is a little weird. And then all of a sudden, like he just cuts his arm off and then does the creepy "I'm a psychopath" laugh all the way down the tunnel. Like
I love that part. I
I
think
thought
that's
that was gr I thought it was awesome, but I was just like, no
He
one
hi
noticed this
yeah,
for 20 years.
yeah,
Like,
he hides it pretty well.
yeah,
dude is an actor.
but it was great. It was great. I thought it was a very good ending because yeah, definitely didn't see that happening.
Yeah.
Maybe he was crazy, but nobody just noticed because they're working 12 to 16-hour shifts at the mine and it's going out and getting like slush, as
Right.
far as
True.
in for the next 8 hours and going back,
That's
Yeah.
So
true.
yeah,
Uh,
I thought the ending was really good. Like we mentioned, like it was one of the first ones that I can think of, or earliest films that like, the mask is taken off and it's revealed it's somebody that they know. And like the way he's acting, like he's running off after he cuts his arm off. I really, really thought there should have been a sequel for that, man. It could have did so much, but
Yeah,
you know,
I,
time
I,
gets by you.
and it might not have been great reviews at the beginning. It might not have made its money back, which is we
Yeah.
know how many good movies have been killed that way.
Yeah.
And I will say, dude, the character itself is iconic. Like that, just the suit. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's pretty fucking terrifying,
Hmm.
dude. When he's in the mine and he's taking out all the light bulbs, I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
bro, brilliant, brilliant. You're just like, oh man, this thing's getting closer. Where the fuck is he? You know what I mean? In his territory and shit, just super cool, campy shit. Like I love that. Really cool character. And I mean, people do cosplays of that fucking all the time. I ended up talking to the dude that played the miner in Valentine's Bluffs. I had him on my podcast, and he was awesome because he was talking about he's just a cosplayer anyway. And then he got asked to do the movie when he was Saw.
Chuck.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
dude. And
Yeah, he's good people, man. He's good people.
but yeah, he was just a cosplayer and then got asked to be in the movie and he was like, I don't know. And he got shown the script and like now that's like his persona. You know what I mean? He was found that way at a Comic-Con or somewhere. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty cool. Just so iconic. I mean, I know people who have built the masks themselves and put the whole costume together. I mean, shit's gonna live on forever, man. It's a
Oh
For
yeah.
sure.
really cool style and it's not something that um is totally like far-fetched, you know what I mean? He wasn't like all deformed and shit like Jason
Yeah.
style or anything like that. He was pretty straightforward. Just the what he put on was cool looking. So that carries this franchise, or I shouldn't say franchise, but this movie a long way. I think that pushes it into the cult classic status. And when people got more into once you got out of the monster movie phase and got into the slasher phase, people were looking for that left and right. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was huge. So people love masks. As a collector, I love masks. You know what I mean? So I don't have one of him yet. That'd be great to have. But just as most horror movie fans are collectors as well. So as you could see with Adam back there, yeah,
I was trying to see if we had that. I think that's one that we actually don't have.
that's a cool one to have, dude. Because that's a cool, just like Halloween costume too, man. Like dress up
Oh
as the
yeah.
miner. That's freaky as shit. Walk down your street, the kids are gonna go nuts, bro.
Oh yeah.
What would you
Super
guys rate
tense.
it out of five pumpkins?
I'll
Oof.
go. I'll go. I'm gonna go 3.2.
3.2.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of
An
like
interesting.
I haven't seen a lot of people go 3.5. They don't want to be too harsh, or they'll go three. I'm gonna go 3.2. I liked it. There's some stuff I think I'm just taking it for what it is, and I'm trying to remember all my other ratings too, but I always sometimes I try to wipe those out and just go from, the most recent watch. Yeah, I'll go 3.2. I liked it. It's a good movie. Has its place in horror for sure. So
What about you, Adam?
I'm trying to think.
he's like 1.6, man.
Yeah,
$2.99999.
right. No, I
I don't
would
want to give it
say
3.
I'd probably give it a 3. I would say
Yeah.
a 3.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like there isn't like anything crazy to do with like the plot and all that kind of stuff. It's just a straight up slasher movie.
Yeah.
And like for what it was, especially considering it was made in 81, like I thought it was great. Like the kills were awesome. And
Yeah.
like you said earlier, the amount of kills that happened in the movie, you don't really get it that many
Right.
very often, and all of them were pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would say a 3. It was yeah, I would say 3.
Steven, hit us
Nice.
up. What do you got? He's like 4.9,
I know
baby.
he's gonna be like 4.9,
5 out
but
of 5.
yeah,
No,
so
I give it
first
a
perfect.
3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. I'm with
Yeah.
you, Adam. And then, you know,
Yeah.
New England, John,
Yeah,
he's a
I got
couple point. He's point two ahead of
listen,
us.
listen,
Yeah.
I'll give it the point two because of the character himself. I think he deserves a place up there, you know what I mean? He's not like on the Mount Rushmore of slashers or anything, but he's
He
in
is legendary.
he's in that second or third tier, you know what I mean? He's
I think
floating
he could have been if they actually like went on with like a sequel to it, because you definitely could have gotten a sequel to this
for
movie
sure, for
Yes.
sure.
for sure. And I think it would definitely be like up there at the top tier of slasher
Yeah,
characters.
and if this movie was made a little bit later, if this movie was made like 88, 89, like you might have
Yeah.
seen a completely different plot with this guy being just this giant fucking iconic character and you know there's a possibility that the mining masks like the mask and the outfit itself wasn't really too intricate to their plot. Like that might have they kind of might have stumbled into that. They were probably like we want to make this guy look crazier, but like this is what we can work with to make the story to make the film. You know, we'll just throw him in this outfit and he'll be the killer, you know? So you never know.
Was this forgive me if I because I don't know this. Was this before or after like Halloween,
This
the
was
first one?
this was
After.
3 years after, or no, 2 years after. Sorry.
So it
No,
did
no,
come
three,
after. Okay.
three. Because
Okay.
Original Halloween was 78, I believe.
Okay.
And so this was 81. So it came not too far after, you know, but it was probably one of those movies where people were like, oh, we can kind of capitalize on this mask wearing psychopath and that kind of thing,
Yeah,
you know. Um, but yeah, I'll give it the point too because of I mean, the cool shit, man. It's just cool.
for sure.
It's a cool
It
thing, and
is.
but it is a once a year watch for me. Like I'm not like it's you know there's a lot of Christmas horror and like Halloween, you know, holiday horror that you're like, oh man, I'm watching Halloween like 2, 3 times maybe. I'm watching Krampus. I'm watching Silent Night, Deadly Night a couple times before Christmas hits. You know, this movie it's like you could watch it once before Valentine's Day, and then the holiday itself isn't this gigantic commercial success of a holiday. So like you're not like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it you know, it probably suffers a little bit too from being so early in the month. Like, you can't be like, yeah, February 26th, I'm gonna pop on. You
Yeah.
know, pop it on My
My
Bloody
Bloody
Valentine. I mean,
Valentine.
I'm
Yeah.
sure people who absolutely are obsessed with the movie, they do that for sure. But like, it's a once a year watch for me for sure. Like, it's
Yeah.
not anything crazy like that. You know, I'm not gonna be obsessed with it the whole month. So it hurts, you know, it's one of those movies. It's just like, oh yeah, My Bloody Valentine's fucking pop that in. It's almost Valentine's
Mm.
Day. One of those. So it deserves its place in the ranks, you know. Like I said, top two, tier two, tier three, maybe. He's hanging around there. You know, I think a few people out there will be like, don't forget about Henry Warden, you know, like fucking put him in there somewhere. So it's cool.
Yeah,
I don't think he would ever win like a tournament bracket of slasher killers, you know, but he's there.
maybe one day.
Maybe one
Maybe
day, you
one
never
day.
know.
And
But
I mean, it's got that movie has its own following. I mean, obviously, like
definitely,
with
definitely.
Valentine's Bluffs, I know we mentioned that. So that was a fan film made by some really cool dudes. And I mean, they shot it in a similar location. Actually, they shot theirs in PA, but like and they shot some scenes in the mine. They want to be like as authentic as possible. So I mean, this great great fan film. If
Yeah.
anyone check it out on YouTube, it's
Yeah,
free to
actually,
watch.
I own the physical copy.
Oh yeah, so do I. So do
Yeah.
I.
Yeah.
And like I said, made by some phenomenal people.
Yeah.
And if anyone's ever like, just want a little bit more of My Bloody Valentine, Valentine's Bluffs is out there on YouTube. So that would be
For sure.
it's a good watch. But getting back to my point, I mean, the movie has that has that following. I mean,
I mean,
who's got
you got a blockbuster like remake out of it, you know what I
yeah,
mean? So
exactly, right? So
for sure.
I mean, it's definitely up there in the classics. So
Yeah, I agree. I
man,
agree.
cool.
Hell yeah, guys. Well, great episode, man. That's our episode on My Bloody Valentine. Happy fucking Valentine's Day to everybody. If
Yes.
that's your thing, man, go watch
Yep.
this. Go
Happy
watch the
Valentine's
film.
Day.
Go watch this review, and then if you haven't checked out Hard Eyes yet, make sure you check that out if you get a shot. But
John, are we doing an episode on Hard Eyes?
I mean, we can. I've already seen it.
All right.
It's up to you,
Let me see
man.
what I can do, man. I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
see it.
That movie's crazy because it's going to be a lot of people that hate that fucking movie. And then there's going to be this weird little following of people that are going to be like, I liked it. I don't know what it was, but I liked it. Like it's a very forgettable movie, but you have fun in
Oh
theaters. Watch.
no.
Yeah, you have fun in theaters watching it, but it is in no way like a movie that's going to stick around that long. It'll
All
be
right.
like it might be very similar to My Bloody Valentine, where we're saying, hey, there'll be that cult following for the movie, but it's not going to like you know
As long as they come out with the mask for it, I just want the cool mask with the
the
hard eyes.
mask is really cool. The killer
Yeah.
himself, the killer, it's forgettable, but it's fun. It's
Okay.
90% romantic comedy. It's very funny.
Ah.
It's a very, very funny movie. Like you're like, I was telling Steven this earlier. I was watching it, like I'm in theaters watching it, and I'm just like, stupid. Like, it's like one of those movies, but you laugh. You're like, oh, 90% romantic comedy, 10% cheesy, shitty slasher, and it's good fun for a watch. But
Okay.
Is it worth doing a podcast episode on?
yeah, I think so. Just
All
because it's
right.
new too. Try to get
Let's
some.
make that episode 5, and then episode 6 will be Freddy.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
Yes.
Not one of my favorites, but
Is that what we're doing next month?
And next month is we're doing a random Nightmare on Elm Street film. So I mean, it could be, man, it could be
oh, it could be
Freddy's
any of
dead.
them. Yeah,
It
yeah,
could
yeah,
be
yeah.
Ooh,
Whatever.
Freddy's dead.
that could be a rough one.
Yeah.
If part 5 through 8 is not picked, I'm not watching.
He's like, fuck it, I'll just do the podcast with my
Yeah.
eyes closed.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Anyway, guys, yeah, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Adam, thanks for coming on,
Yeah,
man.
thanks for having me,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, you're
Adam, thank you for
welcome
joining us,
anytime,
brother.
bro.
We
Anytime you want to
appreciate
come
Yeah,
you.
on, join us, you definitely can. Anybody else in the
I'm
group that's
down.
watching this too that wants to chime in, you can. Um, Yeah, everybody go watch this. Go watch the original. Watch this episode and leave your comments below on what you think of the film. Is it one of your favorite slashers? Is it just mediocre to you? Is the character iconic? What do you think of the kills? All that type of stuff. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel as well. And we'll be back next time. Later.
Yes. Have a good one.